Hello and welcome to Tom Wainwright Reads Books. This here is my Booktube channel, and today I'm doing a video all about the books that I'm excited to read that are on my TBR list. I won't go through my entire to be read list because that's quite extensive, but I'm just going to pick out a few books that I want to read in the next few months after I finish the book I'm currently reading, which is Stephen King's It. I'm nearing the end. I've got about 200, maybe 300 pages left. I'm loving this. This is my second Stephen King novel that I've ever read, the first one being The Shining. And oh man, I just love it. I didn't expect to love it so much. I've been with these characters for what feels like decades. I've been reading this for only about just over a week now. But oh my word, I love it. I'm scared reading this book in such a human way. It's not really the supernatural that's scaring me. It's small things. I don't know. It's about childhood and about your memories. And it's making me think back to some memories that I've sort of locked away, that some of my first nightmares that I still remember. Just weird things. So it's really getting to me, this book. So I kind of think I need something that's a different genre, maybe. Something with a bit of a different, pace to it. I've got a Stephen King on the list of books coming up, but I definitely won't read that next. I might give it a little break. But I'm just going to go through just a handful of books that I'm excited to read. Please, in the comments, if you've read any of these books and you recommend them, think I should read them next, please just message so. If there are any books that aren't here that you think I should read for a bit of a change of pace from the horror that I've been reading, then please let me know. It's been so lovely having people like and comment and message me about the books and telling me about their books that they're reading, and it's just great. And also, we're so nearly at 100 subscribers. This is so exciting. I genuinely thought that I'd be stuck on like 20, 30 subscribers. I'd get a few likes here and there, and I was totally fine with that. But now I'm at 100. I'm like, where can we go? How many thousands of people can we gather here to this channel? I'm gassed about it. But I'll get started right away and talk about a book I really want to read. And that is Red Rising by Pierce Brown. I think I mentioned I wanted to read this in my first ever sort of intro video. But this is a book one in a series of, I think it's 7 books in total. There are 6 of them out. The first 3 are considered to be a trilogy on their own. And I think the next 3 jump in time quite a bit. And the 7th book is coming out later this year. Maybe next year. I don't know. But this is sci-fi. And I've not read that much sci-fi before. But I'm really excited to read this. From what I gather about this book, and I've really kept free of all spoilers online, it's sort of set perhaps in the future on Mars, and there's these different class structures, and the Reds, I believe, are at the bottom, and they're sort of like the working class that are not getting any benefits to the work, and they are sort of right at the bottom of society, but they're all blissfully unaware that just above them are all these other levels of society, graded by colour. And I think this is the story of a Red discovering this and trying to break that system, rising up out of it. I'm a bit nervous about starting such a big series to get sort of sucked into for the next few months, but the 7th book's coming out, so that could be quite fun. So that's number 1. After that, I've got The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue by V.E. Schwab. I've never read any of V.E. Schwab's work, but she's written some real big sellers in the last few years, and I'm quite excited about this one. I actually will read the blurb to this one because I think it sounds quite intriguing. France, 1714. A desperate woman makes a desperate deal in the dark, a bargain to live forever but be remembered by none. So begins the invisible life of Addie LaRue, shadow muse to artists throughout history, forgotten friend, confidant and lover, slipping away with the morning light. Addie passes through lives, desperate only to leave a trace of herself, until the day she walks back into a small bookshop in Manhattan and meets Henry, who remembers her. After 300 years, Addie's life is restarting, but the devil never plays fair. As Henry and Addie's lives start to intertwine, they must face the consequences of the decisions they've made and the prices to be paid. The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue is a dazzling adventure across centuries and continents, across history and art, about a young woman learning how far she will go to leave her mark on the world. Quite cool. It's also a standalone book as well, which is quite cool. I think I might save that though. Maybe if I start a series next, this could be a nice little palette cleanser. I'm not sure. Next up, this is a terrifying book that's on my TBR. This is The Lord of Chaos, or just Lord of Chaos, by Robert Jordan, book 6 in the Wheel of Time series. For any fantasy buffs out there, you would have heard of the Wheel of Time, and I think there was an Amazon show that's been on recently as well. It's epic fantasy, epic high fantasy. I've read the first 5 books, and then this is the 6th one. I actually got about 200 pages in before being burnt out. I loved these books, and I think, you know, sort of epic high fantasy is something that I've always been a bit like, ugh, a bit cringed out by, and I was a bit like, oh, I'll give this a go, because another booktuber called Daniel Green, I say another booktuber, I mean, he's like probably a millionaire. He does it full time. I don't think we're on the same level, but he recommended this years ago to me, and I was like, I'll go and I'll start it. And I loved them. The first book, I think it's called The Eye of the World. It starts out almost identical to how The Fellowship of the Ring by Tolkien starts. And apparently this was intentional. It was almost a bit of a nod to Tolkien, a bit of a homage to his works and how he was inspired as a writer. And Robert Jordan started it off, and then suddenly there's a point in the story where it sort of changes and it opens up into this epic sort of across galaxy story. It's fantasy, it's bloody good. It's also very, it's a lot. I haven't really finished my sentence. It's just, I remember being a bit burnt out by the writing. Like there'd be quite a lot of description about the inside of a tent or a room that you would never visit again. And I kind of didn't need that amount of description. I remember feeling that. And some of the characters were a tad annoying, especially the way that Robert Jordan wrote some of the female characters. They felt a bit petulant past the point of like, I was like, yeah, we get it. Like, we get that she's a bit of a hothead, but it just got me a little bit annoyed with some of the characters. However, I've had this inkling that I should complete this series. So whether I just read about a recap of book 1 to 5 and then restart this book, that is on my mind. But I'm not that excited about it. No, I hold this up. Maybe. Then I've got a book which I'm really excited to start. This is Robin Hobb's Assassin's Apprentice. I have not read a single Robin Hobb book. And again, any fantasy lovers out there will know that Robin Hobb is the queen of fantasy. Apparently it's not that action-packed. It's got a very cool title. I don't know anything about this book. Yeah, actually, should I read it out? I'll read it out. The kingdom of the 6 duchies is on the brink of civil war when news breaks that the crown prince has fathered a bastard son and is shamed into abdication. The child's name is Fitz, and he is despised. Raised in the castle stables, only the company of the king's fool, the ragged children of the lower city, and his unusual affinity with animals provide Fitz with any comfort. To be useful to the crown, Fitz is trained as an assassin and to use the traditional magic of the Farseer family. But his tutor, allied to another political faction, is determined to discredit, even kill him. Fitz must survive, for he may be destined to save the kingdom. Yeah, apparently it's not that action-packed, and it's quite character-led. That intrigues me quite a lot, and I'm excited to read that. That could be next. Although it's me starting into a massive world, because this is book 1 of the Farseer trilogy, and then there's one called like Ship Traders, I think something like that, another trilogy that's massive. But everyone I watch on YouTube or I've talked to about Robin Hobb is just like, you'll love it. So that is high up there. I then have another fantasy book. I think I'm craving a bit of fantasy. The Shadow of the Gods by John Gwynne, recommended to me by 2 guys on YouTube called The Brothers Gwynne. And they mentioned their dad quite a lot on the podcast and him being a writer. And I was like, it's John Gwynne, that's him. And The Shadow of the Gods I picked up really recently. Epic fantasy set in sort of a Norse mythological world. And it's got a big dragon on the front. So that's really exciting. Really cool characters, great story apparently. This is quite a small trilogy compared to some of the other books that I've got lined up. So I'm quite excited to read that. That could definitely be next. So next up, we've got Robert Harris's Conclave. which was recently made into a film and did really well. This is the story of, I think, a few nights, I imagine, or a few days, of a bunch of cardinals deciding who's going to be the next pope in Rome, in the Vatican. And oh, that excites me. The first Robert Harris book I read, I think, was Pompeii, when I was a teenager. I was obsessed with ancient history, and I loved it. I thought it was so good as a kid. So I've not read a Robert Harris book since then. Really excited to read that. That's also obviously a standalone as well, bit of fiction. So that could be very exciting. Oh, that's going to be quite excited. Next up is a bit of literary fiction, and there's a great booktuber who you should instantly follow called Books Are Sick. I think he's Canadian, don't know his name, but he's a lovely guy. And his favourite book of all time is this, John Williams's Stoner. This is a book, again, I don't know much about, which is sort of the theme of this video today. But this is the story of an academic. I think he's a lecturer at a university, and he lives a very simple life. And I think the story is about how, even though a simple life doesn't sound very exciting, it can be so filled with value and richness. And yeah, apparently it's beautiful. And yeah, one of my friends, actually, she's read this. She said it's ace. So that is really high up on my list. Then we're going back to fiction. We've got The Will of the Many by James Islington. I've not read anything by James Islington. I think his previous trilogy was called the Licanius Trilogy, or Licanius Trilogy. This is the first book in, what's the series called? Hierarchy? Don't know. Hierarchy Book 1. It's called the Hierarchy series. Again, don't know much about this book. I think it's about, similar to Red Rising, even though this isn't sci-fi, this is fantasy, I believe. It's about breaking down class structures and a bit of a rebellion. This is book 1. Book 2 is coming out very soon, I think even in just a few months. So this could be a really exciting book to pick up now and get hype for. Only thing I'm scared about is, well, two things I'm scared about. Number one, the hype around this book is massive. It's been in people's top 10 books of all time, and it only came out like a couple of years ago, maybe. So apparently it's epic, but that's scaring me. The hype's too big, and that could be a bit of a letdown. Also, the size of the font, tiny. What's that about? That's too small for me. Come on. And then finally, I have this, Stephen King's 11/22/63. I think I mentioned this before, this book. This is one of the new Hodder rainbow edges. I think you can collect all of Stephen King's works, it creates this massive rainbow, which is quite cool. Although I quite like my old battered books as well. So I probably won't complete the collection of all these books. But this is the story. I think it's a bit of sci-fi, a bit of time travel involved, and someone has the opportunity to go back in time and try and stop JFK's assassination. But things happen. I don't know what those things are. But Books Are Sick, the same booktuber who I've been following for ages now, he recommended that you read it before you read this. And he said no more than that, but I imagine that our protagonist in this goes to visit maybe what's it called? Derry in Maine, where this is set. And I imagine there's some supernatural force at work, similar to the clown in here. I imagine so. So that's quite exciting. Again, people love this book. They said it's it's been in people's top 10s for a long time now. Yeah, I'm really excited to read that, but I will not be reading this next. I want to have a bit of a break from Stephen King. But I think that is it. I think that's my current TBR, he says, eyeing up numerous other books that I want to read. I didn't put any historical fiction in, really. There is one. I'm just going to add one more to this list. It is this. The Land Beyond the Sea by Sharon Penman and a friend of mine, Andrew. We both loved what's called Kingdom of Heaven, the film. And he was like, if you like that, read this. It's all about the First Crusade. It's fiction, fictionalized, and it's epic. And it's a big boy. I think it's just under 1,000 pages. Maybe just under 900 pages. Yeah, just under 900 pages, but it's a big boy. I'm excited for this. This is cool. This could be something I want to sink my teeth into quite soon. I love my historical fiction. Oh no, I'm seeing so many more books I want to read. Nope, this is it. This is my limit. I will be only reading one of these books next. If you know what I should read, please let me know. I have got two more books. They've just come into my head because I haven't got them in front of me. They are Audible books. And one of them is the beginning of the Age of Madness trilogy by Joe Abercrombie. He's one of my favourite writers of all time, Lord Grimdark fantasy writer. He's just wonderful, and some of the best character work I've ever read. And one of my favourite trilogies, the First Law trilogy, it's 80 years later, or maybe 100 years later, they continue the story on with another 3 books. And I think the first book in that is called A Little Hatred, which is a great title for a book. And I only listen to his works because Stephen Pacey, the actor, does the Audible books for him, and they are just so well read. Oh, it's so good. And I've been waiting over a year now. I've had those books sitting there waiting to be listened to for ages, but I've just been waiting for the right time. I actually just finished a re-listen to the First Law trilogy only a month ago, and it's getting soon. It could be next. That could be next. And then the second book that I want to start, and this is another series, is a thing I've never heard of before called Lit RPG, which I believe is like quite sort of like fun video game type writing. It's called Dungeon Crawler Carl by Matt Dinnerman. I think that's his name. And this is a crazy fun story, really humorous apparently, and that could be just the tonic to break up the quite emotional reads that I've been reading and quite scary read I'm just about to finish. And that is about, I believe, a guy. I think the premise of the story is aliens invade the world. Anyone who is inside a physical building instantly killed. But everyone who's outside, I don't know, just going for a walk, walking the dog, whatever, they survive. But then they are sort of pitted against each other in these sort of gladiatorial matches / dungeons that are under the earth. And that's televised to these aliens in other planets, I think. Apparently it's really funny. It's this dude called Carl, and I think his ex-girlfriend's cat, who can now talk since the invasion. Apparently it's very funny. Sounds ridiculous, but that could be quite fun. So that is on there as well. But I think that's it. I've tried to finish this video for a while now. I'll do it now. Okay, I lied. There is one more book. After I recorded that video, I did go to the bookshop and I picked up this. Dusk by Robbie Arno. Don't know. An Australian writer. And this is a signed copy and independent exclusive edition. It looks beautiful. Look at that. It's got the pink sprayed edges. Lovely. It's about siblings, I think they're twins, who go off hunting for this puma in the Australian bush. That's all I know. To be honest, I looked at the cover and was like, looks ace. And I had a glass of wine by that point. Yeah, I really want to read that. It's giving me vibes a bit of The Sisters Brothers by Patrick Dewitt, which is a wonderful book. Actually, I should reread that. It's giving me vibes of like a little cowboy vibe. And yeah, I just want to read that. So that's also in the mix. That's it, I promise. First of all, thank you so much for all your likes, comments, and for subscribing. If you haven't done so, please do. We're nearly at 100 subscribers. Think of the power. Think of the power that I'll have. Amazing. It's so lovely when I get comments, so please do comment. But let me know what you're reading, what I should read, and have a great day. Bye.